Hey, you guys, it's Maymay, and two incredible things happened. Number one, my husband asked me for an album. He said, I need you to make an album from our recent hunting trip. Okay, done. And number two, 49 and Market has brought out these new albums that I'm freaking out about. Are you ready for this? These are called the mixed up albums. Okay. And let me show you what they do. First off, the first cool thing is they are wider where they used to be two. Now they're 2 3/4. They're the same height. This is all the same. And they still come in all the orientations. But look at this. You get a page that is a gatefold built in. Okay. You get a page that is a full open page. This page is like a trifold. It opens up and it opens down. Are you kidding me? How fun is this? This page is a pocket at the top, already glued shut for you, ready to go to be a pocket. And we don't lose anything because it was created for us before it was put into the book. And then, of course, you have this space back here. I'm so excited. There's one other thing that comes with it, and that is this belly band, which you can use in any way you want. It comes with your album. You could use it to close here if you wanted to slide it on the page here. You could use it back here if you want to hold your trifold page shut. I'm thinking about using it in here to give me more spot to put photos. We'll talk about that. Now, I'm going to be doing some stuff in this album I have not done before. Okay. I'm going to be doing a lot of interactive things. This page is going to be interactive, and my third page is going to be interactive. I'm doing the fun fold stuff in here. Okay. Now, you can see that I have put measures here. Let me show you what I did. I ran through every page and I measured them and took 1/4 of an inch off the height and the width. So, for example, this page measures 6 1/4. So, I took it down to 6, and then it measures 8 1/2, and I took it down to 8 1/4. That way, I'll get that little black matte edge all the way around my pages. I went ahead and measured everything throughout. Okay. I did every single page, every section gets a measurement. All right. And normally I would run through my paper pack and I would cut all these pages and just get to town. But here's what I've done instead. I did not want to use the wrong paper on the inside. So I got with Vince and said, I want you to pick what you want for your cover. And here's what he chose. And I think this is pretty. So for the cover, we're going to use these trees. For the back, we're going to use the trees as well. We'll put them the right way. So the front and back will be this. And then I thought this was neat, and he liked this too because his hunt was in Texas. So it's kind of sometimes it's kind of dry out there. So we're going to put this little dirt on the side, and then we can add like titles and all that kind of stuff as we get going. So that is the only thing I know for definite that I pre-cut. Okay. And I did that because I don't want to mess it up. And I'm going to put that to the side for later. Now, the other thing we're doing different in this album is some of the pages, two of them, are getting fun fold elements. So, what I think I'll do is just work on that at this point. I'm going to do each page as its own self instead of just doing the album. I'm just going to start with each page. It'll be fun for me because each page is kind of different and I'll design one as I go. So, we're going to start with the first page, which is this gatefold one, and I have something super fun in mind for it. Okay. So, the first thing we're going to do is work on the fun fold element. I want to create pop outs. When you open this, I want this spine to have little pop ups whenever, not pop outs, but pop ups whenever you open it. So let me show you my plan for that. For the inside of this, I'm going to go ahead and put cardstock down. Now, you need to watch me do this before you start doing it because you may decide to do some stuff different than me. Okay. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do and tell you some options. So first things first, I'm going to put this dark blue in the background. I think it'll be pretty. Plus, here's the other thing. This page that I'm putting glue on, this is all fishing, and this album won't have fishing in it. Not that my boys don't fish also, but this particular album is not from a fishing trip. So I'm just not going to worry about that fishing page and put it where I won't need any paper, won't need to see that. But I love this blue. I think this is it looks very masculine, kind of like men's suiting. Okay, and then I've got two pieces cut or beside, and I'm going to use these because they're kind of busy. And I think what I'm going to add here will really pop off of this busy page. Also, this side is really cool, except also not a bear hunting trip. So I didn't want to like, I'm just not going to focus on the things that this is not a hunting trip for, if that makes sense. So just glue this down. Now, again, when you see me do this pop up element, here's what I want you to think. You can do this with any theme. Mine is hunting this time. But if this were Valentine, if it were graduation, if it were any theme of cardstock that you have, you can do what I'm fixing to show you. And what I love about it is this way to make these pop ups is so easy that you'll be able to put them anywhere there is a fold of a page, anywhere. All right, so I'm gonna glue this one down. I like all that movement in there. Next, what I did was I went to the ephemera pack and I found these 3 pieces that I think are really cute. And so I want them to pop when you open this up. I want them to pop up and be like a dimensional element. So here's what you can do anytime, anywhere. The first thing I did was I cut a piece that is 4 by 1.5. Okay. You don't have to do this size. And I'm even going to show you how I'm going to size it down for one of these. But I just wanted something that I could attach these to for them to pop up. So I did that size. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my scoreboard or your trimmer. I've just got my trimmer sitting here. I'm getting real used to using this score blade. So I'm going to score this every inch all the way down. Okay. So that was 1. Now I'll do 2. The reason I did that way, like out that side, it's just easier to hold it when you're doing a smaller number like that. All right. And then here I'm going to do 1 again. Well, let's do it that way. See what I mean? It's easier to put your hand out here and hang on to it. So you got 4 score marks. All right. Now what we're going to do, let me go ahead and do the other 2 with the same scores. So I dug into my punches and I found this one that does tags, right? And there's 3 different sizes. There's 1.5, there's 2, and there's 2.5. Now this piece is 1.5. And what I'm going to do is put this into here. If you don't have a punch like this, I'm also going to check the back because earlier when I did this with my score mark, it pushed out and I didn't realize it. So I want to make sure I have this just stopping in there. But if you don't have a punch like this, don't fret about it. Just use a corner rounder or maybe use a border punch and just do a straight punch across. But what I'm doing is creating what I want to feel kind of like a belt buckle or something. It won't be, or maybe more like a hinge, like a door hinge. So I've created this now with the score marks, right? And what I want to do is I want to fold this one forward. And then I'm going to fold these 2 back. So to the front. So I get something like this. Okay. And I want to do that again. And then I want to show you one little edit that I'm making on the last one. And I know this is a tag, but Shannon and I were talking about this when I was messing with this idea. And it's kind of like, it just kind of feels like a hinge, like a door hinge. And I'm going to put something in here too. It gives us another place to decorate. But I think this will look really good. And the reason I didn't have to, or you'll see in a minute, I don't have to hide this because it's decorative, which is going to make this a super easy process. All right, for this guy, the pop-up I want to use for it is small. You see that? So I didn't want to do something wider than my little piece that's going to be my pop-up. So I cut this down so that the pop-up would work. I'm going to just eyeball center it in my punch. And whatever I get, I get. See, that looks cool too. Just think it's pretty neat. So if you're watching and you're like, maybe I need to get those punches. You won't be sad about these. I think there's 3 or 4 in the Dress My Craft line, and they're perfect for your stash. Wow. So this is a different punch, and I want to show you what it would look like with this one so you can see all the differences. So see how cool that looks? I just love that. And you do it on both ends. And of course, you need to see where I'm using it to make sense. But so you can think about this in the future, this is a cool thing to do. And like I said, there is another one as well that would work. Okay, back to the album. So what I want to do is I want to place these guys. I want one up here. I want one in the middle. And I want to put one at the bottom. And I think I'm going to let this little one live at the bottom. Let me fold this up. And I want to tell you something. This that I'm doing right here could be done in a greeting card just as easy. If you wanted to make a card that felt masculine, doesn't this kind of give that masculine feel? I think it does. All right, what we're going to do to install these. Your middle score line needs to line up on top of the fold. You see how I've got that lined up where that'll fold? Because what's going to happen is when we glue this, we want that to push. You see that? Now, if you don't want yours to come out as far as mine is, you can edit this guy. I've got it coming out an inch, but you can edit it to be smaller if you'd like. Okay? So how we're going to install this is we're going to apply glue to this kind of bracket section, this flat section on both of them. And then, like I said, I'm going to line it up. I'm going to eyeball center it, and I'm going to line that crease with the fold of my page, and then just press this down. While we're here, I want to show you something else. Shannon said I should probably show you this because this is what I did to work this out, okay? I took some yellow tape. I wanted to see if this would work, right? And I didn't want to glue it in. So when I was practicing just to see if this would work, I just took a bit of yellow tape, put it on here like this, get a little tiny bit more, put it on the other side. If you have a temporary adhesive, you could do this with that. But what I did was I just put this down like this, and just to practice and make sure it was going to do what I wanted it to do, I laid it in place and taped it down. And then I just did that and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's going to work, right? So I did that all throughout this book. Everything I've been planning for it, I've just been using this yellow tape and I don't get rid of it. I just sit it up here, stick it on my glass mat, and I can go right back to it and use it over and over again. So that's how I kind of tested to see how this was going to work. So if you need an idea for that, there you go. This one's going to go sort of to the top, and then this one at the bottom. So you see how pretty those look? They don't need to be hidden. Even though they're just mechanisms for lifting, they don't need to be hidden. Now, what I want you to do here, this page is only going to focus on one picture. I want to do a 4x6 picture here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a spot for it. For me, this just worked out serendipitously. Okay. I've got 4 1/4 here. It just worked out. I did not plan it. But if you're wanting to plan this, you'll want to do the measurements for what size picture you're wanting to put inside. So this piece is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 because I want to mount a 4x6 photo to it and have a little bit of a border. However, I want to show you something. When you put this in here, you need to pay attention that you don't get resistance. And I was getting a tiny bit of resistance because this was touching. So I just shaved a tiny bit off the side so it'll fit. Also, you'll see that my hinges hide behind. I'm good with that. I think it looks cool. But if you want those to pop out, you'll just have to put the picture in and everything and then put that on top. But I like them going behind. But just remember that when you're building in the future. So I'm going to glue this down. And again, this is where a 4x6 photo will live. And you definitely want to build all of this part before you do the next part because the next part is going to be a little bit above what we're doing here. All right, so when you put this in, check and make sure everything closes, and it does. So that's where my big photo will live. All right, so here's one of my ephemera pieces. I'm going to go to this little piece, okay, and I'm going to apply glue on that top section, just like this. And I can lay it down at this point. I know where my score mark is. I don't want this to hit the score mark, so you might even just do it like that to get it where it needs to go. And then stick that down. When I did that, it pushed it a pretty far bit in. So we're going to let that be where it goes. And do you notice that it's overlapping the page? That's not going to matter. That's going to happen. And we can put something here to kind of cover that up. So isn't that cool how that does? Okay. And then I'm doing this big guy over here. Okay. And you're thinking, you're going to cover the picture up. Some of the picture is going to be in there, but these will lay completely flat for the person to look at it. But I just think it is really a cute way to do this. I'm going to get that pressed down. Isn't that neat? And see, it'll lay flat so you can see the picture. So cute. I absolutely love how that turned out. I think that is so neat. I think that'll be fun for when you're somebody slipping through and they don't realize that's the element that's in here. And again, the 4x6 photo will fit in here and it'll be so cute. All right. So I thought about adding like a rivet or a brad or something here. I don't have any of those little nail heads. I wish I had those tiny nail head stickers I used to have. I don't have any right now. That would be really good here. But here's something I want to caution you about. They already have a little bit of bulk because of these hinges that we created. So you don't want to get too much bulk in here. Although what's beautiful about these albums is you have a 1/2 inch gusset. You have so much room. Like this is not going to be impeded at all. But just be mindful of what you put there. I don't think it needs anything. I think it looks good. Now I may come back and add some other little things here and there, but I really love how that looks. So let's do the outside now. All right, you guys, I had a camera issue. I did not hit record. I thought I did, but I didn't. This is the front of that page. Let me show you. We ended here. Okay, we did this. What I did on the outside was I just cut a strip for this side. I cut a strip for this side, and I used a cut apart that I sandwiched a magnet here and here for. That's all I did here to close this down, and it works. I'm so sorry I thought I hit record, but no big deal. Like again, strip of cardstock, a cut apart with a mat, a magnet. I did use the bigger magnet. Let me show you. I used this guy because you'll see there is some bulk in there because we have those little pop-ups. So I did use the big magnet. Now, you may be thinking, Maymay, that's a lot of page for one picture, but I'll tell you. So Vince only has 11 pictures from this trip, not a lot. So I've really got some room to play. So I'm taking advantage of that. But if you have a lot of photos that you need to put in, you might not want to spend all of this on one picture. I think it's going to be great. All right, now we're going to go to the next section, which is here. Now, like I said, I have 11 photos and I want to make sure I get them all in here. So what I'm going to do is pause real quick and go see what the orientation of all my photos is, and then I will know how to lay this out. Well, I'm glad I looked because he has 16 photos, not 11. But here's what I did. I just went through and put landscape tally marks, portrait tally marks. So I need 11 portrait. That's what happened. He probably sent me all those 11 at one time and didn't realize that I had 5 others that were landscape. So I know I have a perfect one for inside of here. So let's see. We mostly have portrait. So that's good. I have some room to work, right? So let me kind of run through and see how we're going to lay those out. So because I need a lot of photo spots, I'm going to use all this space to my advantage and get 3 good size photos here. I know all my photos are 4x6 because that's what I'm going to print. And so if I were giving this to someone as a gift, I would layer all this on and I would put this down, and that is what I would do as a gift. Of course, we'll add ephemera. We're going to do that too. But since I'm going to be putting the pictures in here, I'm not going to waste that white cardstock to put my photo mats in. But in case you've never seen this before, we have several stamp sets that do this in lots of different ways. This is just one example of some of our stamp sets. So we just cut these pieces of inexpensive cardstock. We stamp them for what size photo goes, and then you glue it in. So when you give it to the recipient, all they have to do is put that size photo in the spot. Okay. So I'm going to glue these down and I'm going to glue these guys where I had them, and we'll get right back together. While I'm gluing, I just want to say this. I'm so excited that Vince wants an album. Like, he's never asked, like, asked for an album. He's always been like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, whatever. And we were in the car the other day and he went, you need to make me an album for my trip. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, this trip, in case you don't know, was the trip of a lifetime for him. There's more that he wants to do, but this one he got to take 2 of his boys, his 2 oldest sons got to go with him. That was a first for him. He would like to do one with all the boys, but this one they went to Texas, and I want to say it was Abilene, but I might be wrong. But I don't remember the actual city they were in. I think it was actually outside of the city. Ooh, that's pretty too, right there. I don't know. I like this better. I think I'm gonna do this one. Just for the color. But anyway, I thought it was really neat when he asked for an album because he's never really been like, yeah, you just need to. So I'm excited to do this for him. And when I asked him for the pictures, he was excited to give them to me. So I can't wait to finish this for him. Now, some of you are going to want to see this one finished with photos, but I have to be honest, I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. I might can show you some of it with photos, but my son, my oldest son, is not huge on camera or being on the internet and things like that. So he's always kind of avoided. Y'all know if you've been around for a while, Jared always avoided the camera. So I don't really want to put his pictures all over the place, but I might be able to show you some. Josh doesn't care, Vince doesn't care, so we might be able to kind of flip the page and show you some of the pictures in it. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of ephemera here. I can always come back and add more. And I may just do that. But for now, I'm just going to put a little. Notice I put glue on the bottom of that little tag. I'm just going to put that at the bottom of my picture down here. And I didn't glue the top because what I'll do is put the picture in. And then if I need to, I'll come back and add glue. But I'll probably be fine just to leave it like that. But sometimes I'll just slide a little glue under there. I also like this little tab. The one thing about this particular album is you can't really see everything because it's all kind of dark. In real life, I love the darkness. I love how it's kind of dark and I don't know, it feels like dusk outside, like the dark time of the day. So I think it's kind of cool to have all these kind of masculine colors. But you do this same kind of thing. Y'all seen me do this 100 times. I just go around and I add ephemera, and this won't even be touching anything, so I can just put it right down there. That one says blame it on my roots, which I thought said boots, which would have been cute either way. So I think I'll come back and add a sticker. Let's look on the sticker sheet for that. So there's not one that's small enough to fit inside of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this here. It says Country Roads Take Me Home. I'm going to put this here just for a little extra something. And I think I'll be able to stick the picture right down next to it. But if I'm not, what I'm going to do is just not super press this down. Just press it more at the top and kind of leave that edge open. And then when I put the picture in, I'll stick it down. But I'm going to bring that up so you can see it because it's so dark. Isn't that pretty? Country roads take me home. All right, so that is that done. First page, middle page. We can do a little more. All right, let's do some here. I had another piece of the tree left over from when I cut the other, so I'm gonna put that one here. And I'm trying to decide if I want to add a flip. I can because I need photo space, so I could add a little flip here. Let me cut one and show you what that would look like. So originally, what I thought I would do is make one piece that looks like this that's scored. Now this piece is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4 because I need to mat a photo here. So I just added a 1/2 inch to a photo mat is all I did. And what I want to do is I thought this would be a cool place. I'm gonna build this outside the album and then put it in because that makes sense, right? I thought this would be a good place to add another photo spot just like this. And then I was like, and then I can magnet this close or whatever. Then as I was playing, I was like, this might be a cool place to add like a waterfall feature. So watch what we can do. We will glue this piece behind, okay, just like that. Then I cut another one of these exactly the same and I scored it on that little 1/2 inch side, okay. And this one, I'm gonna go ahead and fold this forward and backwards to get it moving. This one, what I'll do is I'll glue it to the edge of the page where these guys line up like that. Okay. Then this guy will open. See that? So we're kind of making a waterfall. And then I can add one more here. And I think that will look really cool in our album, right? So I think that will be what I put here is like a little waterfall feature that when I fold it over, it looks like that. And we can add a little closure. Cool, right? You guys, I did not press record again, so I apologize. I'm going to tell you what I did. I showed you how I wanted to lay this out, and that's exactly what this is. This section is what I showed you. I put a magnet here. I made this little brown flap. You see the one in the middle? And that's the one I put the magnet on. And then I sandwiched it inside a piece of cream. And I thought I filmed all that, but I didn't press record. Again, I don't know why I'm doing that today, so I apologize. This is just a sticker from the sticker sheet. I decided to add this cream to it because I thought it needed a pop of color. It was getting a little bit dark. And when I put pictures here, that'll knock back even more. It won't be quite so bright, but I think it kind of needed it. You can see it matches really good here. It just looks super bright on the brown, but it'll be fine. But isn't that a cool way to add a waterfall? All I did was wrap that piece under before I glued this one in, glued that one down like I showed you, glued that one down like that, and now we have a little magnet closure waterfall. Perfect. Here's the other thing. This is what's really good. So I have 1 4x6 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So because I have 16-ish photos, how many does that leave me to do? 7? Only need 7 more spots. That's pretty cool. If I got that math right, I'm proud. If I didn't, sorry, I don't do math. All right, on to the next section. So I think what I'm going to do here is because I've got so much bulk built up there, I'm going to cover this page, put a photo mat, do some ephemera, be done. But this page, okay, I want to do something cool in here. Back to the fun fold idea. Let me show you how this page works. It goes like this and then like this. Remember, this is built into the album. It comes this way. What I want to do is I want to take this bottom piece. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to send it to the back because I don't need it where I want it here. What I want to do here is create a pop and twist for photos. Yep, you heard me right. What I'm going to do back here is glue this shut on 2 sides and make this a pull-out pocket. Okay, but let's do 2 things. I'm going to cover this off camera because you see me do it. Then we'll come back and make the pop-up feature for here. So I just added a sticker down here that I'm leaving open for the photos. I'm literally going to be putting the photos in tomorrow. So that'll be fine. I'll slide it in, then I'll stick it down. But I want you to be able to see kind of what I'm doing. All right, over here. Do you remember back in the day, probably 7 or 8 years ago, we made a pop and twist card. I want to put that in here because I think it'd be a cute place to put some neat photos. Okay. All right. So here's what we'll need. All right, for the pop and twist mechanism part, we need a piece that is 3 by 12. And I'm using black that's the same color as the album so it'll blend in. What we need to do is do some scoring. Let's go ahead and score this way. So what I need to do is I need to score at 4.5 and then at 7.5. But because I don't want to open my trimmer, I'm just being lazy. I'm going to flip this around and score it again at 4.5. So you can do that either way. All right, so you're looking for that space in the middle. You see those score marks? Let me turn them where you might can see them better here. There we go. That's what we're looking for in the middle. Now what I want to do is I want to score this in half at 1.5. So we're scoring, not cutting. Score that in half. And This part might be hard for you to see, but here's what I'm going to do. This score line here and this score line here, what we need to do is we need to, I'm trying to get that where the glare's off of it. There we go. We need to do an angle score between them, okay? So I'm going to place those into my trimmer, and I've got one score line here and one score line here, putting that onto the cut line. Although I'm not going to cut, I'm going to score. And then I want to score across this. Now I have to tell you, I have several videos on this technique. We will link those in the description because there's some really good, like if you're wanting to do this on a card, this is way too big for a card. So you want to go look at those videos for that. But what we've done here is scored. Let that focus. There we go. There's what we've scored, just like that. Okay. So that is going to be the mechanism for the middle. Now, before I put this up, while I've got it, I'm going to need another piece. This piece is, I've already done the math, so let me see, 4.5 tall by 12 wide. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to score this because this is just easier for me. Rather than scoring, I'm just going to fold this over on itself, and I'm going to get the center, use my bone folder and crease that down to get the middle. Okay. Then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to bring this edge to that fold to get my next fold. Just like this. And then I'm going to turn it to the other side and do the same thing. Now, I want to show you something that Shannon said would be really cute, and I think it really would be. And so if you want to do this, this might be the place to do it. I don't have the pictures yet. I got to print them out. That's why I'm going to do it tomorrow. But here's what she suggested, which would be really cute. Okay. Let's say you had a 4x6 photo that was landscape. Okay. She suggested you cut it in half and you mount it here. So when your pop and twist opens, you can see the whole picture, but there's a cut between it. Like it's just like on two sides, right? So think about that. If you're wanting to put that there, you want to think about that ahead of time before you put this into the book. Okay. All right. So here's what we need to do with our mechanism. First, we need to fold on those diagonal lines. And what I want to do is fold down, and I want to line it up nice and straight to that other score mark. I'm going to open that up. Then I want to turn it around. Well, turn it up. And I want to do the same thing again. I want to fold this one, line it up to that score mark, and then crease. Just like that. Okay. So we've made that X in the middle. Now I want to take this middle score we did here and push it up. And I don't have to do much yet. I'm just going to push it up like this. And you'll see that when I do that, it's already wanting to do this. This is what you're trying to create, this kind of, these legs with this point at the top. And you want to crease, crease, crease. Do this. Now I want to go back to this piece that we just did, okay? I'm going to open this up. Now, to make this mechanism work, what you do is you take this piece and you glue it at the top here and at the bottom here, leaving this loose and this loose, because when it closes, you see how my fingers are holding that? Those need to be loose. Okay. So here's what that means for me. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to apply glue. And this glue can go all the way behind that first folded section of this piece. So you see this width, that's how far that glue can go. So I'm just going to line this up to the top of my mechanism. I'll turn it around for you to see it too. Get that laid in there straight. So you see what I've done? I've just lined that up to the top. Turn around so you can see it, and glued that down. Now for the other side, it's super easy. What I'm going to do is just fold this back. I'm going to make sure I'm straight. Let's press that in. And I'm just going to apply glue to the bottom under that score mark. Again, watch the other video. I think I explain it a little better in my other videos because we're only talking about this part. But glue on the bottom here, glue on the top of the other side. So gluing at the top and the bottom allows this guy to do this. And it twists, which is weird because you don't really think it should. In your mind, you think it should just close down, but it twists. So let me do that again. So when you open it, I want you to watch this mechanism. It will twist open. See that? That's what it'll do. And it's going to do that in our book too. So let's bring this back over, and we're going to go to that third page that lifts up. Okay. Now I want to show you what I did for this particular album. I wanted as much of this as I could get. Okay. I wanted as much length. I wanted that 4 1/4 length. Okay. So what I did was I made this where it could mount to the very center here. And this page, it can go right to the edge. Okay. I can go back a little bit in this one to get it centered, but it can go right to the edge. It doesn't have to, but it can go that far without being seen. Now, what I like to do is put this in, place, lay everything down, make sure everything's laying flat, and then apply glue. Now, you're going to put glue on this whole triangle here. And what I like to do is pick this up first. Okay. So I just lay this down and let that attach. We're in no hurry. Glue might come out, but it's not going to go to the other page because there's some thickness between it. So you're not going to glue this shut. All right. And then what I'm going to do is holding that for support. I put my hand in here. I'm going to lift this up like this. So I just supported it. Okay. And then we'll apply glue to this triangle. You can do this with sticky tape if you'd rather. I've just always kind of done this with glue. All right, and then we're going to put this in, close it down. Now let's give this time to attach. That's where I mess up. I never want to give it time to attach. I just want to open it and see what we got. So I'm just going to let that attach. Now, this could use a closure, except I think I'm not going to put a closure in it because it's got 1/2 inch of space to live in. It's coming in this direction. Everything I put in there is going to add bulk. I just think letting this one just kind of flop is going to be fine. So you probably won't see me put a magnet here. Now, if everything worked out well, check it out. Look what we built inside of our album. I want to press these and make sure they're in there good. I'll tell you a trick. Let this cure, let it dry really well before you just really try to lay this flat, because you'll have a mess if you don't. Now, again, it twists. So when it closes, it's going to twist. And there we go. I just wanted to kind of wiggle that into place. Sometimes this bottom corner will catch right here. No biggie. You can just do like that and it'll shut. Isn't that neat? I think that's a neat addition. And what I want to do is decorate all around it. Now, I'm going to use this to my advantage. There's only so much paper in this paper pack. So rather than covering this whole thing and having a lot of it live kind of in this hole, I'm going to cover out like that and out like this. And I can put a photo here, put a photo there. And then I'm thinking I'm going to do cut apart, and photo here like Shannon said. But I wanted to show you how that was going to work. So let me cut away, cover the bottom, cover here, add some cut aparts, and I'll leave this space for a photo. Now for those cut aparts, I need to cut these down a little bit. They're a little too wide. They're actually the right height, but they're a little wide. So I need to take 1/4 inch off. So what I'm going to do is cut 1/8 from either side and see how that fits. I think this is really cute, you guys. Can you imagine this done in like really girly colors and spring florals? I mean, I love this, but I cannot wait to get back to my Maymay colors and things like that. But this is a lot of fun. Something different. And I had to get Mama Tried in there, right? Of course I do. Have to get that in. All right, let's bring this over here. And I want to put these in here like this. So see how I cut them down just so that they could mat? That'll be cute. Okay, so in the middle, I'm going to put a photo. I don't think I'm going to put photo mats here. I'm not sure how I'm going to lay this out. And I'm going to want some places for journaling. And these 2 spots might be the perfect place for journaling, because I could make journaling cards to put in here. Or Vince has this hunting album that you kind of log your day in. And I think that might be cool if I could get something like that in here. So I'm going to leave that alone for now, and I'll come back to it. And you see over here, I just have that side. And now I'm going to just cover this. And I may not put a photo spot here. I may just decorate this with cut aparts because this is pretty bulky. Do you see that? So I may just use some pretty cut apart. There's a big one. Let me show you that one. I really like this one right here. I think that'd be pretty there. And I might just put some of my favorite paper behind it and just do this, and maybe even put some pieces coming around it, because it just literally does not need much right here. Okay, so for here, in an effort to not waste any of my cardstock, I have some strips, kind of cut off pieces. I'm going to do this in the background. I'm going to glue one piece here. I'm going to put this one here. I just cut them all to the same height and made sure they were the right size for this area. And then I'll glue this one here and put my cut apart on top of that. So just give a little bit of movement or a little more interest to the page. I also love adding that tree anywhere I can. I think that tree pattern is so pretty, so I want to use every bit of it. So I'm ready to start on these 2 pages, and I want to create that pocket that we talked about. But here's something I want to do. I want to try to have the insert in this pocket and the insert in this pocket the same. Now remember, this sheet was supposed to be turned the other way, but I'm going to edit it. This one, however, is already a pocket made for me, so I don't have to do that. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put gussets in, but kind of in a different way. I don't love a gusseted pocket all the time because I feel like the gussets can kind of stop the slide. So I'm going to show you how we're going to get around that, or at least I think I'm going to get around it this way. We'll see. It's one of those, let me do it. If it doesn't work, don't do it that way in yours, you know. So here's what I've done. I've cut 2 pieces that are 1 inch wide, and they are the length of my page and the width at the top. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I've already scored them in half. They're 1 inch. And then they're scored in half at 1/2 inch. So let me fold and crease this. Now, as always with these gussets, I want to take a little bit of the bulk off the end. So for these in particular, I'm going to scoot in a little bit on the end and take a little more than I usually do off, just because I feel like it's going to be kind of a tight fit. So I'm just cutting this angle, and I'll bring this up and show you so that I can get some of that bulk out of there. Same thing here. Take a little more than I usually do, which just means I'm coming in a little further. It won't matter because what I'm putting in this pocket is not going to be tiny and it won't fall out. I'm just putting, you know, a photo slider in there. So this will be just fine. All right, let's go back to our album. I'll open this up. Let me lay it maybe this way. This might be easier for you to see. And what I'm going to do is add glue to one side, and you could totally do this with sticky tape here because it's all going to be covered up. But I'm going to use my art glitter glue. So I'm going to add glue to one side. And I'm going to glue it down inside. I've got this open, okay? Glue it down inside into the spine, right to the score, right to it. And then I think what I'll do is take my foam folder and kind of give that a little pressure, just to get that to adhere good. A little bit of leakage there, no big deal. All right, while that's there, while this is open, I'm going to go ahead and put this one at the top. Now you can totally put glue on the side of these guys and shut the page now and sandwich these in, but I want to do something a little bit different. Like I said, I don't want this big bulk inside my pocket. It's probably not that big of a deal. Again, we're putting something kind of tall in it, but I know that whenever we have these gussets in, sometimes they can be so thick that the piece will catch on it. So I'm just going to take one side of it out of the equation. And here's what I mean. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to fold this down like this, and I'm going to wrap this over and glue it down on the outside. It's going to get covered by paper that I'm going to put down, but I think I will like not having so much bulk in there by doing this. It may not be necessary. I just in my brain think it is. I just think it is needed here. So I'm going to close this one down, and I'll probably need to rub that down with my bone folder a bit to get that to adhere well. And you're probably thinking, well, Maymay, why didn't you just put glue in there? You could have just put glue inside here. But like I said, I wanted to be able to have all of the edges inside that pocket so that it would match my other pocket. If I had put glue inside there, anytime you put glue inside, you shorten the pocket because the glue kind of rolls over. That makes sense. I'm sure it does. All right, so rub that down. Make sure it's sealed good. All this dimension I'm adding in here is, it's fun, but it's causing me to have to work around it a little bit. All right, so now that pocket is there, and it's a full pocket now. See that? So I can go all the way in. All right, I've already cut the pieces to slide inside. Let me show you. This piece is 5 3/4 by 7 3/4, and it will slide in here like so. Let me lift it up where I can see. And see how easy that'll slide in, and it goes all the way in, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to get stuck. Now, I also know it's going to get in there and I'm not going to be able to find it. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to take a punch. And as you know, this side of the page has already got decorations and our pop-up on it. So what I'm going to do is take my punch and just put it in on one side here. I'm just going to punch this page. So let me open this guy up. Just going to punch the one page and have myself a pretty deep thumb hole so I can see that page. And you could mark this if you want. I'm just eyeball centering it. It's not that big of a deal. That shot right at my face. There we go. All right. So see, now I'm just giving myself that thumb hole. So when I put that piece in, I can see it. And I'm going to do the same up here. And I'm not going to do both pages. Normally, you know, I do both pages. I'm just going to do one so they'll match, so that the album feels kind of the same. Let's get this guy in here. I think I will measure him, but that's because of where he's sitting. The other one, you won't really notice, but this one I think you would. So I'll make a mark at 3 because this is 6 inches wide. And then when I get up there, I can kind of just eyeball once I've got a little bit of a starting point. So get that to the middle. Pretty deep again. There we go. So now I'll be able to see what I slide in there. And so they kind of match. They only have the little slots here. And I'll show you, this is that same size. And it is a little smaller than I needed because you could put a little bit of a bigger piece in there. But I kind of like how that one, that size landed. All right, so there we go. And like I said, I cut 2 of those already. So we have the inserts for inside. All right, let's talk about what we're doing. I don't want to add a lot here. I've got so much going on up here. I think I just want to cover these pages. And so I've cut this one, and I think I want it to live here. It's a little bit wide for that spot. Let's see how it looks here. It's better over here. So I think I'll put this one here, and see how that's going to hide my working anyway. But I do need to punch this hole. So I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to mark where this is. I'll tell you what else I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to lay it in here. And if I line it up right to the edge there, I can trace it so I know I get the same size. That's probably a better way to go. Then we'll just punch that. This never works out perfectly for me, but it's better than nothing. It's an easier way to get this done than trying to cut it by hand. And now when we put this here, it'll pretty much match. See how that kind of does that number? What I'm going to do, it's not exactly rounded out. What I'm going to do is take that punch, and I'm just going to shimmy back a little bit. Like, here's my punch. I'm just going to like give this a little side haircut right here. And then I'm going to do the same over here. Just give it a little side haircut. So can you see that little sliver? I just took those little slivers off the side of it to open it up a little bit. And now it'll lay a lot better. That's all right. I'm going to glue this guy in place. And then he's going to get a photo. I'm just putting a photo here. And I've cut myself some more of the brown pieces that I need for where my photos are going to go. So I'm just going to glue one of these right here. And then I can add ephemera later. Also, let me show you. I told you that I made tally marks for how many pictures I needed. What I'm doing is as I make the spots, I'm coming in and scratching them off so I know I'm getting them. So that's kind of how I'm keeping up with what photos are going to go in here. I'm going to decorate these slide ins last because if I have scraps, this is a good place to use scraps. But I still have this full sheet, this one, and then both of these pieces that are going to need pretty big pieces cut. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those real quick so I don't accidentally use all of my big pieces. Because these paper packs from Photoplay aren't super huge. You can get what you need out of them, but you just kind of you want to make sure you get all of these before you go too crazy with all your little cuts. I think I'm going to make this whole pocket camo, and I have these 2 pieces here that'll make that happen. I think that will be cool to do both of these the same, like one camo pocket. So I need to do that same technique up here for my hole. On the very back page, I just put a photo. I just think that'll be fine there. But here, what I'm going to do is use one of my cut aparts. I think this will be pretty to add some color here. So I'm going to glue one of these like a pocket, and then I'm going to take one of my photo pieces and just stick it in there to hold it because I think that'll be good. Some people I've seen lately are calling these tuck spots. So we're just going to make this kind of a tuck spot or a little 2-sided glue pocket. It needs a little brightness here, and it gives us something a little bit different. And then whenever I do my photos, what's really cool is now I get 2 out of this one. So I'm going to go mark that on my little sheet, and that one can just live in there like that. So we're doing pretty good here because now we just finished all the portrait ones that we needed with those 2, with that. So it actually gives me an extra spot even. Okay, so let's talk landscape now. So for this one, I had some big enough sheets to cut some more cardstock. Isn't that cardstock just going forever? I feel like it is. And then I had one sheet big enough for this side, but the back side, I'm going to need to piece it. But it's not a big deal because I can use this to do that. And I can use either the plaid. I think I'll use the green because the other side is plaid. So what I like to do is just cut pieces that I just lay side by side. And it really does add a little more texture to the book. I'll show you what I mean. We'll put this one down over here. It'll lay like that. And then we'll put this one here. It won't be a pocket. It'll just kind of feel like it. You know what I'm saying? It'll give it a little bit of extra interest. I think it's really pretty to do this. So this one will just go right beside it. Then when I put my photo mat on it, won't that be cool? Okay, now here's the thing about this one. These inserts are going to hold my landscape photos. I can get 4 here. And guess how many I needed for the album? 4. I actually have a spot for 5 because I'm going to put 1 landscape photo on my pop-up piece. I actually have the one picked out I'm going to put there. But I only need a few for that. So I'll have 1 extra spot where I can put another one. And as far as photos are concerned, at this point, I've covered all my bases. There's one more thing I want to add, and we'll talk about that when I put the covers in. Okay, so I can put my inserts in now. I'll put this one in here. Oh, that lands in there good. Happy with that. I'm glad I did that gusset that way. This one in here, I like that little bit of plaid sticking out. All right, so we're covered on photos. Here's what I did for inside. I like these because I want to brighten it up in here. So I'm going to put these here to get that bright color. That really brightened up the inside, doing those lighter colors on the front and the back. I'm thinking about putting some light color in here too to brighten it up. So to brighten it up. So let me cut some strips for here. So this is a strip of the tree paper we had left, and the trees actually run this way, but because where I'm putting it, I don't think that's even going to make a difference. It'll just feel like greenery. We're going to put this in there. I could use the dirt side, but the thing about it is I want to brighten this album up. I feel like it got a little dark on me. Vince won't think that. He likes, you know, camo and dark and green and things like that. But for me and my decorating style, it's a little dark. So I'm just going to do this to just add more of that brighter color. These are 3/8 of an inch, by the way. That's what I cut them down to. They're not a 1/4 of an inch, which we would normally do because that's only a 1/2 inch area. I did them 3/8 to get a little more coverage out of them. I really like how bright that did. Every page just brightened up a bit from that little bit. Isn't that funny how that does? Okay, now what I need to do is decide what I'm doing in here and back here. I kind of have an idea, but let me see if that'll work. So in the front of the album and also in the back, I think I'm going to add a pocket. I wasn't going to do this, but I have these 4x6 pieces left over from the photo mats that I didn't need. I had cut a couple. I literally cut 2 too many so I can use them. And I had a little bit of this tree. I just love this tree. I want as much of that in here as I can get. So I'm going to make a pocket. And one of the reasons I want a pocket, one of the things Vince has, he has this field book, I think is what it's called, where he can kind of log his hunts and kind of keep up with the things of the day. It's really a cool book, and it's kind of a tan, kind of this color paper. And I think it'd be neat for him to have a place to stick those for him and for Jared and for Josh to have that to remember the day too, just kind of as a it's almost like a little diary that he can do. Anyway, it's kind of cool. If your husband is a hunter, he may not be, but if he is, or your children, look him up. They're called field books, and it's just basically like a log. It's pretty neat. It's where they put what the weather was like, what the wind was doing. Like it's a whole thing to kind of remember the day. And I think that's pretty neat. So I think this will be a good spot for them to slide those in. And then when they're looking back over this, they can pull out their little field notes. That's what it's called. I think a field notes book. But they could pull those out and then they can look at them. I think that'll be neat. So I'm going to put this here, and it also gives me more room to add cut aparts and stickers. I really like this cut apart, and I kind of want it to have a moment. I think that's the place I want to put it. So I'm just going to glue that down. I think it just adds to the back of that, and it doesn't fit on my pocket, but I can do stickers and things like that there. I'm going to place this a little bit under our pocket so it can have a little border all the way around. But I just think that cut apart is so pretty. It's a little too dark for my cover because I thought about putting it on the cover, but it was a little too dark. Back here, I think I'll add something too. Maybe this one. This reminds me of a song Vince walks around singing, so I may do that one there. All right, so glue this one down. That gives us a little something. Okay, really quick, I'm going to run through and add a few of these guys, just some of these little pieces we've already been adding, and then we'll do our cover. So, guys, I have to tell you this. I think this is funny. So, hunting, fishing, and country music, right? And then I put till the cows come home. Now, this could be wrong, but I'm just going to tell you what my papa taught me. My papa was a cattle farmer. That's what he did. And he always used to reference till the cows come home at till like dusk. I think that may be a thing. I don't know. So, I'm just going to assume that you hunt and fish and sing country music till the cows come home, right? I don't know. That may mean something else, but I just remember him always referencing daylight. Everything was around daylight with Papa, and till the cows come home was dusk in his language. All right, so there's that little country lesson for you. If you're not from the South, this is probably a struggle album anyway, but it speaks to us. Look at this one, Country Roads Take Me Home. Super cute. I want to have that one in there. Oh, I may put it up here because I have that down there. I think he'll be cute up there. What I'm going to do is just glue the top so I know that's where I want him. And then when I put the picture in, I'll glue him down the rest of the way. That way I have plenty of room to put my picture in. If I were doing this for a different person, not for, 3 guys, I might even tie like a ribbon or a bow or something up here to make it like a tag tied on, but they don't care about that stuff. It doesn't speak to them. So I'm gonna put that there and let's just flip through a little bit. This will have photos. This will look really good. Let's go to our stickers. Now, all of these aren't going to work in this album because all of these aren't for, some of these are fishing, some of these are duck hunting, some of these are, let me look, well, mostly fishing and duck hunting. There's a little bit of axe throwing. Um, oh, that's cute. I got a rough side of Country Mile Wide. None of my boys have a rough side, but it's cute and it's green, so I'm gonna put it somewhere. Let's see. Let's put it. Where's something that's really dark? Really, it's not too bad, is it? Maybe up here, because if this is in here or down here, that'll be cute. We'll put it down here just for a little color. Another Southern saying. Again, only sticking 3 sides, and I'll put the picture in there. And then, we need to put some stuff on our little pullouts too. So let's pull these out and see what we can add. All right, to the cover, Batman. Here we go. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue these down. I feel like I'm good. I don't need to add any more flips or flaps. And if I know Vince, this album is going to go on his bookshelf in his man cave. And there is no need to add anything that could get ripped or torn off. So we're going to be kind of flat on the front. I have an idea in my mind. I'm going to see if I can make it work. So I'm going to put this down here. Just going to use the paper and the cut aparts. And he's kind of a simple guy. He's going to love having a place for all his photos to be more than he's going to worry too much about all of the little decorations I did. Although he will appreciate it. He loves this stuff. I love the trees. I think that was a good choice for the album. I think they just look bright and cheery. All right, let's see if I can get this stand up while I put this other side on. Nope, we can't. I'm going to sit it down and glue the side on. I'm tempted to do the trees on the side too. I saved that dirt. Now I'm going to do the dirt. I'm going to do it. So I want to use these antlers and I want to use this truck if I can. And I know I have this cut apart inside, but it's so good for out here. And what I think I'm going to do is do it on this angle and trim off what hangs over so I can really showcase the truck and those antlers. So what I'll do is make a pencil mark where I need to trim this. So I'm going to mark it here and I'm also going to mark it here so I know where to make my angle cut. And I'm not taking a lot off. Now, had I designed this before I glued it down, we wouldn't have to do this part, but it's not a big deal. Just going to put this on the trimmer and trim that little bit. So then I can glue this down right where that is. And in that neat kind of laying off, I like that. That's cool. Another way to use a cut apart, y'all. I love them. I just think they make the project so easy. But, when you use these cut aparts like this, when it's done, it looks like it was, made that way or designed for that purpose, even though we know it was just us doing it. I went a little high, but let me show you. These antlers aren't going to take up a lot of space up here. I just love them. I think they're so cool. I was going to make antlers with my punch, the punch I use to make antlers all the time. But I thought, you know what? Since that's on there, that is perfect. And then I love this truck. My boys are truck lovers. I think this will be cool down here. And I may not stick that down all the way. I may see if I have something to go underneath that too. I used my little mud truck piece, but I do have this. It blends in a little bit, but it adds a little bit of lightness too. I'll stick that there and then have my truck coming kind of above that, almost like it's on the mountain there. Aren't stickers the greatest? Look how easy that is. Love it. I have this piece left over. I'm going to add it here to this side. I think that'll be pretty on the side, and then I can come up with something to put with it. I really like this good old boy. Do this. Okay, so I put this little sticker here. I'm going to add this little cowboy hat, just like this. And then I want to save space to put the information about the hunt because I know he'll want that on the side. So this is a good spot for that. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. We'll figure that out. We'll get that done there. And then I'm not going to put anything on the back. I love this so much. I think this is so cute. I want to see if there's anything else I want to put on before I say I'm done. All right, there were just too many good stickers. I just went ahead and used them on the front. I love how that looks. We've got the side done and then the back. And let's go inside and see where we're at. This is where we're going to end it. I think this does it. So we open this up and we get our little pop-up that'll have a photo in it. I love that section. That may be my favorite. Then a picture. Then we have a little waterfall section for pictures. Remember, that'll be hidden when I put the picture down. And this will hold 4 or 5 pictures. So that's good. And then back here we have another photo. And in here, I'm going to do that picture across the middle here and use this for journaling. So if Vinny has time or if the boys want to, I think it'd be a good spot for like Jared and Josh. Jared can take a spot. Josh can take a spot. I can just give them a piece of cardstock to write on and they can put something in there, which I think will be great. Then a photo here, 2 photos here, our inserts inside with plenty of spots for photos, and then our couple of pockets in the back. I like how it turned out. It's simple, but I think that's going to work for what they want. By the time the pictures are in it, it's going to look amazing. All right, you guys, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I want to see you do this in something girly because I need to see it. And I want to see you do the pop up in something girly. Now, I do want to caution you on this, okay? This 1/2 inch spine is a requirement for this. I think it needs all that space. So if you're making an album and you're not going to do a 1/2 inch spine, or if you're making your own album, make sure you put a 1/2 inch in here to give yourself some room for that. And it's bulky, but it's really pretty cool when you open it and you find it in there. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here on this journey. How cool are these new albums for 49 and Market? Everything I use today that we have available will be linked below and also in the blog post. Don't forget to give us a big subscribe. Hit that button. It's free. Just subscribe. Let YouTube know you enjoy my content so they can keep giving it to you. You can click the bell button and get notifications. And if nothing else, because this is a Vinnie album, give us a thumbs up and say that you Vinnied the video. Thanks so much, you guys. Until next time, bye now.